Well, it's so good to see all of my good friends coming into the six screens tonight. Well, my name's Rick Ferrin. I'm here at the control panel of the six screens of the Watchtower Telenetwork. This is what we've been doing now for 20 years, bringing people in from all over the world and voicing their concerns on what's taking place behind the curtains of the Watchtower. Well, we've got the Dick and Constance Borghi program tonight, exposing the Watchtower. They do have a guest, Joe D'Addario, a former elder. So let's bring Dick and Constance on right now and say hello to them. Hello, Dick and Constance.
Hi
Hello,
there, Rick.
Rick. Hello, everybody.
So you guys looking sharp and looks like you just came back from a formal. You look good.
Thank you so much.
So that's good. So tell us what's going on tonight.
Well, as you alluded to, we're going to have Joe on. And as you mentioned, he's been an elder for 14 or 15 years. And he's going to talk to us about elder abuse in the Watchtower. But before we get that going, I just like to do a little ditty for the audience. I started doing six screens with Rick 20 years ago, almost from its inception. And I've heard a lot of people come on the Watchtower. I've heard a lot of people come on six screens of talking about the Watchtower. And I can tell you that the six screens is different from a lot of the stuff you're going to see on YouTube, because people can call up and they can say what's on their mind. And it's cathartic. And a lot of people have not committed suicide because they could listen and they could get things off their chest. There is so much good content on YouTube right now. Some people have done excellent research, sorry, on the Watchtower. And you know, they do such really good programs that if anyone has any doubts that it's a cult, if anyone has any doubts that they cover up child abuse, if anybody has any doubts that the Watchtower is all about the money and they don't give a damn for the rank and file, you got to be on YouTube. You know, that's kind of my introduction to our program tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I did see on YouTube a gentleman, his name was Sam Carling. He's a MP, which means he's a member of parliament, and he's 22 years old, and he is a Jehovah's Witness, or was a Jehovah's Witness. And he told parliament that the Jehovah's Witnesses is nothing more than a cover-up machine for pedophilia. And so it's out there, folks. I mean, we've been talking about this for 20 years, but it's out there. And I'm getting excited because I watch YouTube all the time. We watch all the anti-JW stuff. And now I can see the collapse. I mean, to me, it's very, very real. And it's my gut feeling that in Norway, they're going to find the Jehovah's Witnesses guilty and not support them any longer. But that's just my opinion. You get something?
Well, no, I just wanted to say, for those who are new, Joe D'Addario had been in the organization about 49 years, about 1 year less than Rick Ferrin. And he was an elder, like you say, between 13 and 15 years. Excuse me. And excuse me, he's our guest tonight. Darn it, excuse me. And anyway, there are two examples he'd like to share. He's on his lunch break right now, so he'll have, just 1 hour. There's Joe, and there's two examples he'd like to share with the audience with regards to the lack of compassion for the elderly ones in the organization. And for those of you that didn't know Joe, he had an incredible YouTube channel called Runaway Slave 4747. So this is Joe, and we'd like to turn it over to Joe now. And
with no further ado,
yeah, and hear his
Joe
experiences.
Hey, Joe.
You look great. You look great. I wanted to share a few experiences that really affected me. Now, I'm going to digress a little bit. I was doing some really bad things for the Watchtower. I was waking up, but during that time period, I was suffering from emotional issues. Along with that, I would have panic attacks, anxiety attacks. I was doing some bad things for the Watchtower at the last part of being an elder. So what I decided to do, and I wasn't thinking ahead, 14 years ago, there weren't a lot of channels to watch to figure out what to do. So what I did is I sabotaged my standing with the Watchtower Corporation. I made up a story so I could get disfellowshipped. Now, after I got dismissed from the Watchtower, and someday I'll tell you the story, but once I got dismissed from the Watchtower, about 3 weeks in, 3 weeks deep into being a disfellowshipped individual, I started to wonder if I made the right decision, because I was raised in the Watchtower. I spent 49 years in the Watchtower. And so I started worrying about the fact that what if I did leave the so-called truth? So I showered, got ready, got my suit on, and I went to a meeting. And of course, being disfellowshipped, and I had never been disfellowshipped before, I had seen others. They come to the meeting before the meeting starts, and they sit in the back, usually in one of the back halls. They have like a school, and then the other one is just an open little atrium area. And I'll never forget feeling so, I felt like I was going through a humiliation ritual. And that's another thing you talked about. We were in a cult. There's a lot of humiliation in the Watchtower. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But so I'm sitting in the back, and there's a disfellowship sister with all three of her kids. And by the way, the kids suffer too. Mm-hmm. You know, they don't get any association. They have to leave when their mom leaves. And there was a new person sitting next to me, and he came in with a walker. His name was Victor. Now, this is about 2 minutes prior to the start of the meeting, and he starts to introduce himself to me. And he said, "Hey, I'm Victor. What's your name?" And I said, "My name's Joe. But just to let you know, I'm disfellowshipped," because I wanted to give him a heads up. And I had never seen this man before. And he said, "Oh, don't worry, I'm disfellowshipped too." And he was really a nice guy. He was probably maybe in his mid 70s, maybe hitting 80. But he was a really nice guy. And you could tell he wanted to talk. He wanted friendship. And so he tells me he had been disfellowshipped, I'm not making this up, for 20 years. Now, we all know when people get disfellowshipped, sometimes people will be gone for 11, 12 years and decide to come back. I'm figuring that's what had happened to him. So he starts to tell me that his son is an elder in another congregation about 35 miles away. And his goal was to be reinstated so he could be reunited with his son, who was a very hardcore elder. I knew him, and his new wife. And so we're talking, and he said, "Hey, is there any chance we can have coffee someday?" So I could tell that this older man really wanted to connect with people. He didn't have anybody. So the meeting starts, and he slips his phone number to me on a little piece of paper. And so meeting ends. We're done with the humiliation ritual. We leave right away. And I believe it was about a week later, I called him. And I said, hey, Victor, tell me where you live and I'll go buy some coffees. And I just went to McDonald's, got some hot coffees. And so I went to his little place and he didn't have much. He lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. I believe he was benefiting from HUD housing. And he had some sort of a problem walking. That's why he had a walker. And so, real nice guy. I really liked him. And he had nobody. This was a guy that was in the Watchtower, got cut off from the Watchtower, and he was completely cut off. And so I became his friend. And from time to time, which ended up being a mistake, we would go to McDonald's. I would either pick him up or he would meet, and we would have coffee together, and we would
We got a little problem there with freezing up, but we'll get Joe back here. Joe is freezing up. Stay with us. This will clear up. Just give it a second. We have a problem here with Joe's internet freezing. Joe, just hang in here 1 second. This is Rick Farron, the Control Panel, Massachusetts. We have Joe Dideri, who's a former elder, Jehovah's Witness elder, and we're going to bring him on here very, very shortly. He has been on some reason or another. He seems to be frozen. We'll give it some time. Joe, I don't know if you can hear me or not. Can you hear me, Joe? Joe's internet is freezing up. Let's bring Dick and Constance back on with us. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Dick and Constance.
Hi there,
Hey, Rick.
Rick.
Yeah, we got Joe frozen there, as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
It's on his part out there at the office that he's working out of, I guess, the county office. Yeah, he is frozen up. Maybe Constance, could you give him a call and tell him? I don't know if he knows. Yeah.
I sure will.
Yeah.
Yep. But in the meantime, wow, it's fascinating stories. He's got me sitting here listening. He always has good stories, Dick,
Yeah, I listened to we talked about it this morning. Joe's on lunch break right now. So we did definitely want to get him in right now, but there's just so much happening in this Watchtower. I can actually see it. I mean, I knew for years it was going to collapse under its own lies and hypocrisy and hurting people and breaking up families. But now, Connie's on the phone to Joe now.
Excuse me 1 second. Dick, Joe, can you hear us now?
Yeah, just went to audio if that's okay. I got lost.
All right, that's okay. You on the? You were talking about the man. You were going to McDonald's, having coffee with him every day. Well, not every day, but at least going and befriending him. And you went back to his apartment. It was like a 1-bedroom apartment. That's where you left off.
Okay, so I'm going to continue with the story. We kind of had a pretty good friendship there because, I didn't go back to the meetings anymore because I started to really wake up because I was seeing other things, and but I would still visit him, and he really wanted to be reinstated so he could be reunited with his son and his wife. So I decided, this is all he has. I encouraged him to put in his letter for reinstatement. And so he did that. He started working on that. And I decided one day, this was about 2 weeks later, I drove over, I had bought a couple coffees, and I stopped at his house, and he didn't want to talk to me. And we had sparked up a good friendship for, I would say, probably about 2-3 months. And I said, Victor, did I do anything wrong? He said, well, the elders told me I can't be reinstated because they saw you and I at McDonald's, either that or at the Kingdom Hall, I don't remember. And, that broke my heart. And I'll tell you why. This guy was close to 80, if not past 80. And they couldn't find it in their heart to let this guy back in so he could reunite with his son and his son's wife. I just thought that was the coldest thing. You know, it was another hoop for this poor man to jump through. So let me finish the story. I would say about 8 or 9 months go by, and I picked up a shift at Station 1, which was kind of the main station, fire station and ambulance-based station. And I had worked a 24-hour shift. I got off shift, and I'm driving home. And I see this man in the middle of a busy road in a wheelchair, and it looks like he's struggling. So I pull to the side, I get out, and realize it's Victor. And so I go up to him and I say, Victor, we got to get you out of the street. So I will him out of the street onto the parking lot of the school. It was near a school. And I said, Victor, do you know who I am? And at first he didn't know. He couldn't figure out who I was. And, you know, we had been having coffee together and all that. And come to find out, a patrol officer pulled over. And I knew that the patrol officer, and he came up to me. And I said, do you know what's going on? He said, yeah, he left the summer list unit, which is supposed to be a locked unit for people with Alzheimer's, dementia. And unfortunately, he was able to escape. Well, he looked really dehydrated. So I told Officer Malone, I said, I'm going to run back to the station. I'm going to get a couple bottles of water, bottled water, and some granola bars for him. So I went back to the station.
Lost him again.
Oh my.
Yeah, maybe he'll call back in, Dick. I'm not sure, but we'll see what happens. The story's good. I want to see what happens at the end of the story. He has us hanging on the. Oh, there he is. Okay, good, Joe.
I'm back. So anyway, I got some water for him, and he grabbed that water like he had never had water before, and he was just drinking that. He was dehydrated. And so I asked Officer Malone, I said, are they going to come and get him? And they said, yeah. He said a van's going to be picking him up. And, you know, he passed away about 2 months later. And, you know, I know Rich mentioned that we were going to talk about elder abuse. There hardly is elder abuse in the Watchtower. Well, there is elder abuse. But when it comes to the elderly, there's gross abuse. And that's just an example. Here's a man. I mean, what was he going to do if they reinstated him? This was a man that was elderly. All he wanted to do was be with his son, and he didn't even get to have that. And you know why? Because the Watchtower and the rigid rules. And I've seen this on and off, not just elderly. I've seen it with others. But that's a story that broke my heart. Now, I want to open this up to you, Rich. Did you ever see anything like this? Or Connie, did you ever see anything like this?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You see it all the time. When they sell off these kingdom halls, some of these elderly brothers, they built those halls. They donated the money to those halls. And they just have the rug pulled out from underneath them. And these elderly brothers are sent 40, 50 miles down the road to another kingdom hall. And they have no say in it. Their labor went into building those halls, their donations to supporting it. They kept the kingdom halls clean and so forth. And the Watchtower comes in and, sorry, brothers, this is Jehovah's arrangement. Shut your mouth, and boom. That is elder abuse. Another abuse that they do is if you have any kind of money, if you own your own home and you're in your 60s, 70s, maybe even 80s, the elders know what you have. They know if you have a mortgage on your house. They know if you die, that when you're getting to those last few days of life, they're there, with a new will for you to sign. Signing everything over to the governing body. Really, that's who gets it. They're really.
Can I share a story with you?
Please
Yeah.
do.
A lot of people don't know. So, the elders get secret letters, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Letters that's for their eyes only. I believe this was in 1996 or 97. We had a circuit overseer's visit, and he read a letter, and I'll never forget this visit because he had a box for us, and in the box was like a brochure, and it was only to be given to the elderly ones in the congregation, and we were supposed to do shepherding calls. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but we were supposed to pair up. It would be an elder and a ministerial servant, or two elders, and we would target elderly ones. Even though they had kids, we were not supposed to tell the kids whether they were in the Watchtower or not. We would set up a meeting. And remember, I only went one time. I couldn't stomach it. We showed the brochure, and we showed them the steps that they could do to make the Watchtower their beneficiary for everything they have. I will tell you, I was with Brother Hosteen. We got in the car after we did that the first time, and this was an elderly sister. She had kids. They don't even think of kids, but we were not supposed to inform the kids we were doing this.
That's right.
And I told Tom, who was at Kobe, I said, I can't do this. This is this is wrong. And he actually agreed. He said, I don't want to do it anymore either. And a lot of witnesses didn't know that we were doing that. That the Watchtower was actually going to elderly people for their money, for their inheritance. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these elderly people, they had kids.
Right.
It's like the Watchtower wanted to bypass the kids, the kids, and it's another form of abuse.
Yeah, it sure is, Joe. That's for sure. Wow.
I mean, none of the after
I
the.
wanted to share that because I don't know if you knew that happened. That program didn't go very well because a lot of elders, it was really tugging at their conscience.
The sister that had a Bible study with us, my mother by then was probably 100. I was in the room, and she was trying to get my mother's signature, I guess, to do a title theft.
Yeah.
The house had been in my name, so the nursing home could not get it. My mother did not live in a nursing home. She lived in her own home, but she had visited rehabs for her health and her hip.
Mhm.
The sister says to my mother, "Oh, sister, you want to give your property to the governing body. They're Christ's brothers." She says, "No, they're not. The Bible says James was Jesus' brother," which was hilarious to me. I'm standing right there. Then the sister says it again. And my mother sits up in her little recliner, all 100 pounds of her, looks right through the sister and says, "Depart from me, you worker of iniquity. I knew you not."
Yeah. Yeah.
They wanted a signature for a title theft. I'm standing right there, and fortunately, the house I'm sitting in right now had been in my name before my dad died because he didn't want a nursing home to take our property.
Right.
I've seen the brochure you're talking about, but this sister didn't present a brochure. She was trying to get a signature so she could forge.
Mm-hmm.
They are con artists.
Yeah, it's sad. And I hear one more.
Believer, just like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to bring that up because a lot of people don't know that the elders had a program, but a lot of elders didn't want to do it. And, there were other things we did that we didn't want to do. But let me share one last experience because I'm going to have to leave here in about a half hour. I was dismissed from the Watchtower, and I was working a shift at the hospital, and I was working in the emergency department. And one of the nurses came to me and said, "Hey, are you familiar with June?" And I said, "Yes, I know June." She was actually on hospice at our hospital, and she wanted me to go visit her. Now, I was kind of worried about that because I'm disfellowshipped, but I went ahead and went to her room, and I said, "June, what's up?" And she is bawling. This woman is bawling. Now, she's in her mid-80s. She has nobody. Her husband, Dan, he's invalid, but she had nobody because what happened was she was a pioneer, full-time pioneer, gave all her energy to the Watchtower. But what she did was she started going to another congregation to meet with the sister for service. And they counseled both of them. And she told the elders, "You're not a master of my faith. I can go wherever I want." Well, you can't do that to the elders, right? So they marked her. They marked her for being disobedient to the so-called Watchtower structure. Well, I think Rick was going to talk about it tonight about cliques. What happened was there was already cliques in the congregation, but this gave that cliques a reason not to have her in the car group. So she was dealing with cancer, and everybody started shunning her. Even though she was just marked, she was completely shunned. So anyway, I get to the room, I'm talking to her, and she tells me, I was marked, and I want you to study, say a prayer for me. Oh. And I said, "June, I'm disfellowshipped." She said, "I don't care. You are more godly than the elders in the congregation. I want you to say a prayer with me." And so I did, and I prayed with her, and she needed that because no elder or no person visited with her for the 2 weeks she was at our hospital on hospice.
That's sad.
Isn't that sad? The Watchtower, they could say they're all about love, but they don't show it.
Right. Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, those are the two experiences I wanted to share. Sorry you lost me on the video part, but it worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. And I'd just like the audience to know I had an experience. As you know, most people that are fans of this Six Screens know my story, but I was disfellowshipped, and nobody could come to the house. My son's friends that were in the cult, they couldn't come to the house. My wife's friends couldn't come to the house. So because of that, my wife had me thrown out of the house, with the cops and the whole bit. So I had to get an apartment down the street. But if it wasn't for the shunning stuff, my boys could not have their friends over. And the congregation wanted to have a book study at my house because I had a big house. So my wife says, "All right, I'm throwing you out of the house." So she did. She threw me out of the house so they could have a book study there. And they brought another sister in to rent a room. We had 4 bedrooms to rent a room. And it just goes to show you, once you get disfellowshipped or mocked or reproved or whatever thing, your status is gone. Your friends are gone. And the innocent ones, my 2 sons and my former wife, they were innocent, but they had to pay the penalty. They had to pay the penalty.
It's like everyone in the family was disfellowshipped, huh?
Me and Pam were working it out. The adultery, we were working it out. Every day was a little bit better, a little bit better. And the elders come over. We want your house for a book study, but Rich has to go. So I was kicked out.
And you're the one paying the mortgage,
Yeah, I'm paying the mortgage. I'm the one
paying all the
working.
bills.
Yeah, paying the child support, all the utilities.
Mhm.
They don't care if you're working 16 hours a day. And I used to work about that just to get the money up to keep the house going and keep my apartment going. And the elders never ever told me that you could write a letter for reinstatement, because I'd never been to disfellowship before. I never read a Watchtower that said that a disfellowship person can write a letter. The elders never told me. I was hoping someday that they would bring me in the back room till after almost a year of that disfellowshipping. I said, "The heck with it."
Most people don't know that.
They don't.
Right. That's not something they really announce.
That's malpractice. They're not qualified to judge anyway, but that's malpractice when you don't even say, hey, if you ever want to come back, you can write us a letter. That like I said, elders are not qualified in the first place.
That's
Right.
true. It's
But
true,
on
Joe.
top of that is malpractice.
Yeah.
It's just terrible. And, one of these days I'll share more stories, but I'm going to have to leave. I really enjoyed the program, and you guys have a good time, and I hope more people comment on that.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Joe, for coming on.
Thank you so
We
much
really
for coming on,
appreciate it.
Joe. Yeah, we really do appreciate it.
Okay,
Another
take care, guys.
Thank you, Joe.
Another situation that I had in my personal life trying to get reinstated was there was a woman that I worked with, and there was another person whose name was Mark Ryland. He was on 6 screens.
Mhm.
He was disfellowship pretty much the same time I was. So he said he wanted to go back in the JWs, and I said I would too. Well, we rented a condo, and the condo had a loft in it, and it had a master bedroom. I had the master bedroom because it had the loft in it, and Mark slept in the loft, and this woman Deanna stayed in her bedroom. I wasn't sleeping with Deanna. Mark wasn't. It wasn't anything like that. I brought one elder in to show him the arrangement, and he said, "Well, it's communal living." He says, "I don't have a problem with that."
Because that's common. People will have one place and they'll
Yeah.
have separate rooms and they're fine with that.
Yeah.
They're just all sharing the rent,
Mhm.
trying to make it in life.
And she was good. I mean, Deanna would cook and so forth and pay her portion of the rent. Same with Mark. And because at that time, I'm still paying the mortgage. I'm paying 2 mortgages because my brother-in-law swindled me out of $40,000.
Mhm.
So I said to one of the elders, when are you going to, bring me back in? And he said, you're living with a woman. I said, I know, but Eric Natakione, he was one of the elders, said it was okay. He says, no elder is going to ever say it's okay for you to live
Mhm.
with a woman. I said, ask him. He said, I'm not even going to bother.
Wow.
Basically says, you're a stinking liar, Dick,
Oh my. Wow.
and I'm not even going to bother. So that was really the catalyst. I said, this is crazy. They got you coming and going. They've got 5, 6 pedophiles in the congregation. And I'm thrown out because, yes, I did commit adultery, and yes, it was wrong. I'm never going to try to justify it. But you throw me out because I'm a danger to the congregation. The Holy Spirit is going to be taken away from the congregation, is what they used to teach.
Mm.
The Holy Spirit, but they can keep 5 or 6 pedophiles, and nobody knows they're pedophiles except the elders
Mhm.
and myself and maybe a couple of others. But they're able to answer at the Watchtower. They're able to go door to door. And I just found out just last year, because one of the guys that got abused in my Kingdom Hall, Mark Palo's son, Luke, did work for Rick, and told Rick that he was sexually abused. And my son my youngest son was his best friend. So I often wonder about my son when I was out of the house because of disfellowshipping. I kind of wonder because my son drinks too much. I guess he's alcoholic now. I've been told that. I wonder if he was sexually abused by any of those 6 perverts, pedophiles in the congregation. It's a sick organization. I'm so happy. There's so much out there now. I mean, these videos, you ought to watch them. Get on YouTube. I guess you have to pay for YouTube, I guess. We pay for YouTube?
We don't.
We don't?
Okay.
Okay, we got
You
YouTube.
do, though.
Yeah.
Hi,
Yeah, good, please.
hey, it's RJ calling.
Hi, RJ.
Good to hear from you again.
I really, Joe, he's one of my favorites to listen to.
Yeah, it's one of our favorites. So.
And I think I missed 5 or 8 minutes there, but the 2 stories I wanted to give my take on the 2, the 2 experiences he had. He talked about the 80-year-old man that was disfellowshipped. He had been trying to get reinstated for many years.
Right.
Let's say a 78-year-old man that has, what does he have in his life? What harm would it have done for the elders to reinstate him so he could see his son?
Well, that's it, because his wife had died. His name was Victor, and he was disfellowshipped for 20 years.
They want you to gravel in front of them. They want you to almost bow down to these elders and please, brother, reinstate me. Well, I don't know if you're sorry enough or if you're repentant enough, or it's a cult.
That's
And
just
it's a
how,
cult. Go ahead, sister, please.
No, it's RJ.
JWs, they're just wired differently, or they
Yeah.
just got that mean streak in them, like a regular human being they do anything they can to put a smile on an elderly person's face or a child's,
That's
face.
right.
And this is like a small ask. Like, what harm is a year-old man going to do? What reproach can he bring in God's name? Come on. And then the other story I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
And Witness Bubble, I don't know if I was 100% in, maybe 90% in, but I think I still noticed the offness of stories like that,
Yeah. Well, he was disfellowshipped for 20 years, RJ. And excuse me, I've got a lot of ingestion today. Anyway, his son had been an elder who only lived about 35 miles away. And last time I read the Bible, one of the 10 commandments, it says to honor your mother and father.
5th commandment.
Yeah. So this elder, his son who was an elder, worshiped the Watchtower institution, corporation, whatever you want to call it, over God's commandment to honor your father. And this man, Victor, his wife had passed away. And, he has Alzheimer's, which is very, very sad. But I think he probably most likely died from a broken heart. And, there's something to be said about your parent. You only have one mother and you have one father. They might not be the best parents, but they try to do the very, very best that they can for you. And once they're gone, that's it. You cannot bring them back from the grave. You can't say, I'm really sorry. I left the organization, so after all these years, I didn't realize I was wrong, and I threw you under the bus as my beloved parent because I worship the governing body members' rules and regulations over my love for you, for everything that you did to bring me into this world and raise me. So it's just very, very sad. You only have one mother and one father. And Watchtower steals that away from people. They just do. And it's difficult being elderly. You start to have health issues, sometimes cognitive issues, which this man, Victor, had. He's standing out in the middle of a street. He doesn't even realize it. He's just so disoriented. Thank goodness he wasn't killed or harmed or injured. And Joe happened to be right there, which I think was such a blessing for him. But the elders in his congregation, they were ruthless. I'm not saying all elders are, but these ones were absolutely ruthless. Your point is really well made, RJ. What harm would it have cost the elders in that organization, that congregation, to reinstate Victor, in his old age? Tell me, how would that have hurt him? No, it's just all these policies, these rules and regulations. Last time I read the Bible, Richard talked about Jesus says, do not judge one another, right?
Absolutely.
So what right do the elders or the governing body members have to play this circus on people's lives and destroy their lives? It's very sad.
When I think back, to my life and my parents, I had wonderful parents. They were loving. They did everything good parents should do. And they were Catholic. My mother was the assistant choir director at our church, which was St. Mary's. And my father was the Knights of Columbus. He was a big shot in the Knights of Columbus. I remember that as a kid. And we went to father and son breakfasts once a month, and we did stuff with the church. And my father was a staunch Catholic. My mother was a staunch Catholic. My father's best friend was a priest. And when my mother knew she was going to be dying, she had cancer. She knew that if she got buried out of the Catholic Church, which she'd been a member of all her life, that her two children, both me and my sister, were Jehovah's Witnesses. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't show up for the funeral because in a Catholic church, and they didn't want their friends that were still alive to see that their children didn't go to the funeral. So my mother arranged for a non-denominational chapel up at the beach. I gave the talk for that. And I was just Jehovah's new system of things. And, after Armageddon, and just such a sad thing when I look back at it now, given that talk at my mother's funeral. And same thing with my dad. He didn't get buried. He didn't have a funeral at the Catholic Church. He had a little small thing at the funeral home, and then he was buried. But it affected my parents, and they weren't Jehovah's Witnesses. Right. And of course, I heard about it years later, how my mother was so hurt that we would obey the Watchtower when it came to Mother's Day and Father's Day.
And birthdays.
We had birthdays too, but especially Mother's Day. Yeah. Especially Mother's Day, because, childbirth, never experienced it myself, obviously, but I understand it's quite painful, and it's, it's difficult.
A lot of sacrifices parents make for us.
They do.
Rich,
They do.
Yeah.
And we couldn't send, flowers for Mother's Day, couldn't send a box of chocolates or send it to a spa for a day or something.
She would have loved that, Rich.
You couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And it made my mother so sad because and now guess what? They're going to be changing all this stuff very soon, within months. You're going to be hearing that birthdays, well, that's a matter of conscience.
They're changing a lot of rules.
Yeah,
policies.
They're going to be softening the language. We talked about this fellowshipping a little bit. And remember Larry John Wayne? He used to have a program on Six Screens.
Yeah.
I got to him, talk to him a few times privately. And Larry had sex outside of marriage. I don't remember the details, but they kept him in the back row for 3.5 years before some of the sisters and brothers said, hey, when are you going to reinstate this guy?
Right.
He's going to all the meetings. And the congregation put pressure on the elders, and they reinstated him. Otherwise, Larry would, if he was crazy enough to want to be back in the Jehovah's Witnesses, he'd probably be still disfellowshipped. if they don't like you,
Mm. It's very political, isn't it, Rich?
yeah, I mean, for me,
Mhm.
disfellowshipping of myself, I was at the elders all the time because I got swindled out of $40,000,
Mhm.
a lot of money in the early 80s.
From a JW family, by the way.
JW and the elders covered for him,
Oh.
and they acted like his defense attorney, and I was screaming at my elders, and wait till traveling overseer. So finally, because the congregation was coming to, two congregations were merging into one,
Mm.
using one kingdom hall,
Yeah.
that I thought instead of the congregation splitting and growing new congregations like they were in the 60s and 70s,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
That I must be the Achan in the congregation that's causing the congregations to merge, and the Holy Spirit was taken away from the congregation.
Well, that
That's
was the
what they
guilt
said.
trip they played on you.
Yeah,
Rich.
so I went and told the elders,
That's what they did.
and one elder who got himself disfellowship for asking why. They said the king of the north was Russia, and then Russia fragmented it, and it was a whole bunch of different countries.
You did a lot of research at that time, didn't
he did. Ken did a lot of research, and they disfellowshipped him because he said the Watchtower was wrong.
on a lot of things.
Yes,
Remember how
I
Rich-
said a lot of things. So they disfellowshipped him.
Mhm.
So he came back and he told me stuff.
They
right?
came knocking on your
He
door.
came knocking on my door.
Yeah.
His name was Kenny Nadro. He was a great guy, a good elder, and
He was
He
in the
said-
organization
he
for many years too.
yeah,
Huh?
he said, they're not going to reinstate you. He says because one, you took the
The circuit overseer.
Yeah, when circuit overseer was coming, he was going to look at me. I was a ministerial servant, been
Yeah.
10 years maybe, and they were going to pray over me, which is their code for make me an elder. And I didn't want to be an elder because I was hiding stuff. I didn't want to sit on the judicial committee and disfellowship somebody for adultery when I was hiding adultery myself.
Mhm.
So it was multifactorial. But Ken said, they're never going to let you in. They're never going to reinstate you. I said, oh, they have to. I'm going to all the meetings. He said, they don't have to, and they're not going to.
Isn't that something?
Yep.
Now, there's no way you would have ever known that,
No,
Rich,
if-
because
Wouldn't it?
they don't teach you that. You just find that out the hard way, huh?
Yeah. Well, if it
And you
wasn't for-
questioned, I'm sorry, honey. You also had questioned the circuit overseer about God's Holy Spirit. That's where you were going with that,
Yeah,
remember?
what it was is, I think most of the audience knows this, but I'll
But there's
run it.
new, there's new people. Yeah.
Okay, I'll run it real quick. I was sitting in the back. There was elders and servants meeting with the traveling overseer, and he wanted a show of hands. The Watchtower governing body wanted to know how you brothers felt about disfellowshipping people that were obese. Obese, if you don't know, is 50 pounds overweight over what your body mass index is.
Now, this was a trial balloon, what Rick
Trial
would
balloon.
say,
They wanted to know how we felt.
in this one congregation to try it out and see
Well, they were
how.
trying out in a lot of different congregations. They wanted to get a consensus
Okay,
of how the elders and the
ministerial. service.
minister felt
Yeah.
about this. And
Wow.
the theory being, you disfellowship somebody for smoking because that is injurious to your health.
Mm,
Well, being 50 pounds overweight is also injurious to your health.
mhm.
So they wanted to know if we thought it was a good idea to disfellowship people.
Mhm.
So if they wanted us, a show of hands.
Now, can I just interject
Yeah,
something?
go ahead, please.
Okay, so Rich's wife was
Obese.
considered obese,
Yeah,
and both of his in-laws were very obese. So there would have been three people right there.
Yep.
Okay, and how many elders and circuit overseers are obese too, Rich,
20.
in that sense? But, okay, so they want a show of hands.
they wanted a show of
Yeah.
hands, and I said, "Whoa!" And I even surprised myself because I was like, "Keep my mouth shut. I'm
Mhm.
only a ministerial servant.
Mhm.
I'm sitting in the back. I'm not a policy maker or anything like that." But it just hit me so hard. I
Yeah,
said,
that one did.
Whoa! I go, whatever happened to the Holy Spirit telling the anointed, because this is what I was taught, telling the anointed, and the anointed telling the governing body.
You said this to the circuit
I
overseer.
said,
Yeah.
everybody's looking at me like,
How dare you? Right.
I mean, you're only a ministerial servant, right?
Yes, Richard and Constance.
Well, let him finish. Go ahead. Wait, King of Dots. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Rich.
just hold on. So
Yeah.
what happened is, I challenged him. I said, well,
Yeah.
whatever happened? And he said, well, he didn't really answer the question.
He meaning the circuit
The
overseer.
circuit overseer, he didn't answer. Well, he just reiterated what he said, decide he wants to know how your brothers feel about it.
Mhm.
It was a trial balloon. And
Right.
they probably did it because I've heard this before, and other elders and ministerial servants have brought it up over the 20 years. We've been on 6 screens. So they didn't like it. The
Yeah.
elders didn't
Yeah.
like me challenging him,
And especially the circuit overseer didn't like that.
especially when you're
Yeah.
only a ministerial servant. Only, you're not supposed to have a brain. If you have so
Kenny Nadro was telling you,
yeah, Kenny came over and he said, first of all, you took the ministerial servant's position.
he didn't like being challenged.
Well, I took the position, I was hiding adulteries at the time.
Okay.
Okay. But my thinking was, I cleaned that up. I went to Jesus and I prayed like crazy. And I felt that burden
Just lifted,
just lifted from it.
like he heard your
Okay.
prayers.
So I said, all right, if I'm, how I was appointed is I was singing a song at the Kingdom Hall. An elder came up, tapped me on the shoulder, and he said to me, we're appointing you a ministerial servant tonight. And he smiled and he walked away. I didn't get a chance to say anything or even think about it.
Yeah.
So I was appointed a ministerial servant. So I said, well, that's Jehovah's way of telling me that I've been forgiven, so I don't have to tell my wife. Years go by, I'm 6 or 7 years, maybe longer, I don't know, 8 years, a ministerial servant. And the congregations are being compressed together. And I thought, well, that's unusual. There must be some kind of an aching in the congregation. Oh my God, it must be me. So I confessed to the elders that I was doing adultery. And Kenny Nadel told me that they were elated that I confessed. They sure in heck was going to disfellowship me because I gave the circuit overseer a hard time, and because I took the ministerial servant's job and didn't tell anybody. And it kills the idea that the Holy Spirit appoints these men.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, Holy Spirits are appointing men that are, I could have kept my mouth shut, been an elder, and
Or what about the ones that are pedophiles?
Yeah,
Rich?
yeah,
So there is no Holy Spirit. So Kenny Nadro had said to you, they don't have to reinstate you.
no, they're
That
not,
was
Yeah,
the
and-
point you
and
were
they're
trying to make.
they're not going to,
And they're not going to.
and they're not going to.
Yeah, that was a real blessing that he told you that.
Yep, I wouldn't have known.
Can
Yeah.
I add
The
something?
audience doesn't know. I mean, now the audience
I
knows.
wanted to add something
Yeah.
also. I wanted to add something also, Dick and Constance. How is the Holy Spirit measured? By meeting attendance, hours of the congregation, Bible studies. That's how they're measuring. There's no such measurement. It's like God is the volcano God. He's going to kill us all if there's one secret sinner in the congregation. And that's completely false. And I can tell you why I know that. Because I was in the weakest congregation in the circuit for 15 years. And then me and a couple other families switched to the greatest congregation in the circuit. They were on all the assemblies. And then I found out everything that's been going on there. People were coming out of the woodwork talking to me. People like to talk to me and tell me everything that's been going on in that congregation there. Elders' wives swimming topless in front of neighbors. There was a secret pot smoking club. I found out everything. All the elders who had premarital sex before they got married. and they had no problems later. I found one brother, he became my plumber. He had 4 adulterous affairs. His wife forgave him, and he got nothing but private reproofs. And look, I was finding all this stuff, but they had the highest hours. They had good meeting attendance, everything. They just simply weren't disfellowshipping
Right.
anybody. It took a lot to get this fellowship at that hall.
Wow.
Well, that's well said, King of Dots. I will tell you this, and Joe Diodera, who was just on a few minutes ago, it just depends on the elders that you draw
In your congregation.
in your congregation. He said in his congregation, there was one young elder that every time they were looking for volunteers for a judicial meeting, his hand went up. He wanted to be the judge.
He liked the power.
Yeah, he wanted to have the power.
He's on a power trip, that one elder.
There's some serious mental illness going on here. I'm 6th generation. I
Wow.
remember I was in a congregation once in Appalachia, and I had a very beautiful wife, and 2 of the elders came to me and wanted to share her with them.
Oh.
And I reported that to the elders, and I told them what happened, and they covered for him. So I've noticed that since the 70s and all the way through 2000 was that there was a cabal of sexual transference in trading wives. Also, to your question about obesity, let's get down to some real serious mental illness here.
Yeah.
The real culprit is gluttony. Now, my daughter, who's a very beautiful woman, had to lose 80 pounds. It took her years to do it because of gene pool type of controversy. She ate less than anybody, but she still got overweight. And so this nonsense about people who are overweight, I mean, the real center is gluttony. I mean, it's the opposite. It's bulimic. So the mental illness in Jehovah's Witnesses, I've witnessed for 65 years, is extreme.
Yep.
Totally extreme. And a big reason for it is the ignorance of the body. They have no medical experience. I worked in 7 hospitals, and how stupid they have shown themselves to be because of lack of education and ignorance is appalling. I'm sorry. I just had to say that.
Well, you're speaking the truth.
Well, it is the truth. And they discourage, going to college. They really do. They discourage going to college. So you get, matter of fact, one of the brothers that was on my judicial committee had a 10th grade education. And Joe was telling us that there was an elder on his elder body. He couldn't read. He couldn't read. He was illiterate. And he was made an elder.
Yeah.
Because his sons were all Bethelites and so forth. So they made him an elder.
But, the mental illness, there's a lot of eating disorders among JWs and even people outside of the organization. Anorexia and bulimia, Overeaters Anonymous. But when you start talking about anorexia or you're talking about bulimia, there's just some serious eating disorders, and they definitely are connected to mental illness. And the mental illness can be genetic, that's true, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. Watchtower does a great number on destroying people's mental health.
They absolutely do. They absolutely do.
And you would never in a million years ever hear a talk up on the platform about eating disorders and how to be able to help in a very loving way. The elders are not trained psychologists, psychiatrists, medical professionals
Marriage counselors.
at all. And you know what? We had elders who were obese. Now I'm talking about like an overeater. We also had circuit overseers that were morbidly obese too, Rich. So It's a really sad situation.
Yeah, that brother that was wanting us to raise our hand, and you could.
Oh, that circuit overseer?
That circuit overseer.
Yeah.
And the elders that were on my judicial committee, they all raised their hand. Yeah, let's just fellowship people because their wives were slender.
Yeah.
Not everybody that's overweight is because of gluttony.
No. Sometimes there's thyroid issues.
There's a lot of different.
Sometimes
A
there's
lot.
lymphatic issues.
I didn't know it at the time, but my wife had a what do you call it that she had?
She had a lymphatic problem. Her lymph glands were not draining properly.
Yeah, and she, because I mean, I ate all my meals with her, and she'd eat like a canary. Anytime we went out to dinner, whatever she ordered, I would order because I know I would eat my portion, then I'd eat half of hers. She just wasn't a glutton, but she had a medical order. So my thinking was that she, when I wasn't around, she was a closet eater, and come to find out that wasn't true. But
Did I say lymphoma? No, I didn't mean lymphoma. I hope I didn't say that. That's a form of cancer.
No,
She had a lymphatic issue with her lymph glands,
right.
not draining properly. Yeah.
We just found that out 2 years ago.
Oh, lymphedema. It's called.
Lymphedema. That's it.
That's
Lymphedema.
it.
That's it.
Because-
Thank you. Mhm.
On her,
Mhm.
I used to be extremely thin,
Mhm.
and I am dealing with a little bit of the swelling of that now. And I went on a Hopkins plan and
Yeah.
lost 40 pounds, and it didn't do anything about the swelling.
Mhm. Mhm.
There are issues in midlife that happen to people.
Well, and too, there's a lot when it comes to women. Pixie, I'm sure you'll agree to this. Women are not so much into drug abuse in the organization I'm talking about. There's alcoholism, because that is a drug that the brothers and sisters are allowed to enjoy. But there's a lot of, I knew sisters. I grew up, we were in our 20s, and they were already, I won't mention any names, but there were like two of them that were very obese, and they were just in their 20s. The point I'm trying to make is, women, what they'll do is they'll overeat or they'll undereat. But if women are depressed or they're anxious or anything along those kind of issues, they'll eat. They'll eat if they're lonely. They'll eat if they're depressed. They'll eat if they're anxious. You know what I'm saying? And men too, as well. But that's very common among women.
So this is a swollen issue of the feet from a person that used to be extremely thin, from an extremely thin genetic family.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with overeating, but it's a swelling of the tissues.
Oh, well, that's lymphedema. Yeah.
Lymphedema.
It
looks like fatness, but it's not.
That's an excellent comment, ma'am. Have y'all even noticed how fat the corporate governing body is? Like,
yes, yeah, I was going to bring that up. You stole
Rich
my
and I have
thunder.
said that. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
alcoholic
Mark
and
Sanderson. Look at Jeffrey Jackson. Oh my word. Mhm.
And Stephen Lett, the fat pig.
They all look swollen. They all look swollen, like they're either eating the wrong thing or they haven't had.
Why don't we just
alcohol.
fellowship the corporate governing body? These corporate men who say the slave class only exists on Wednesday morning when they talk about corporate politics, and then the faithful discreet slave class vanishes from the entire earth. What a lie.
Yeah.
What a lie.
You know what, brother? They're so out of touch with the regular rank and file. They're so out of touch with reality. They're living up in their little ivory tower up there in Warwick.
Everything's done for them.
Everything's taken. They're living on easy street, honey. They don't even have to lift a finger.
I remark quite often on 6 screens, Jeffrey Jackson drives a Bentley.
Well, he's a big man.
$500,000 car. And what's the scripture says about the showy displays
one's
of
means
of life?
Yeah, but
he don't care.
we should get a tape measure, Rich, and measure
Maybe his gut.
measure his waist.
That
All
circuit
of them.
overseer that came, right? And I remember him to this day. because his necktie didn't cover the buttons were stretched out on
Oh
his
my
shirt.
God. Surprised they didn't
His
pop.
waist must have been 60 inches
Now,
around.
who's this one?
I
Which one?
forget his name.
Yeah. They're all fat. They are.
Yeah.
They're all fat. They really are. They're not starving for their next meal, let me tell you.
And you know,
No,
just
one
like
of those men don't look well to me. They don't look well.
Stephen Lett, you know, Pixie, I've seen Stephen Lett, and I think something's going on with his health, because you look at him and, you know, you have a picture of him. Then there's another time, it's like his whole face is totally swollen. And it's like, remember
Yeah.
that? His neck is like, whoa, would he have cancer or something? I mean, I don't know, but he does not look healthy at all.
Anthony Morris, the last couple of photographs.
None of them look well. And I don't understand why in an organization of what they say is 9 million people now,
Yeah.
and we've all seen some very dashing brothers of all races and heights, and we've all seen people that are excellent speakers, men that are really good-looking speakers of a variety of ages. And this is the best they can put out front.
Yeah.
I really, really ask, who are these people? And I really question that.
Yeah, right. The public relations is not being very impressive, that's for sure.
Well, you
When
know,
you get to see what they really look like, and many of them are not even very good speakers either.
no, Anthony Morris. I mean, that
fellow in
guy
the
is.
law department is excellent. That dark-haired, kind of Italian or Greek-looking brother in the law department, I think I had a TV crush on him, but we haven't seen him.
I don't know who he is.
They should have put him out front more, and they didn't. They had a slender white brother who'd served in Japan most of his life. He radiated compassion and scriptural knowledge. He was on twice. They told his life story. He's not on there anymore. Both of those would have been very telegenic choices.
Mm.
You know, Pixie, they get these brothers on now.
It's
And-
a boy band. It's really strange to me.
Yeah, well, to your point, we watch, you know, YouTube all the time. We watched all the anti-Jehovah's Witness stuff, and these elders come on. Sometimes they're what they call helpers to the governing body.
Right.
I swear they're gay. I mean, they come on real feminine, and they talk feminine and they look feminine.
They're not manly.
They're not manly.
They're not manly.
Who's that guy? Skinner? No.
His name is Jeffrey Winger.
Winger.
Like wings on a bird.
Yeah. And
Winger.
then we had this guy on today.
Mm.
This guy was like,
I don't know what his name was, Rich.
yeah, I know.
He
but
was
boy,
very odd looking.
odd looking and queerish, you know, like sissified.
Yeah. Well, you know, Watchtower does that to a lot of the brothers, which is sad.
Well, I mean,
You know, you just have
there's
to answer yes all the time.
there are plenty of pedophiles in this organization.
Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't surprise me that Chitty was a pervert,
Green leaves.
green sleeves,
Green
green
leaves.
leaves,
Mhm.
and Sorenko was
No, honey. Ted Jarrett's
Ted Jarrett's. Yeah,
had an issue going on.
yeah, he's the one that two witness rule.
Yeah, he
Jarrett.
set that up.
Yeah.
How convenient.
So that
So-
organization is loaded with pedophilia.
Well, and they just cracked down. They meaning, you know, the grand jury and so forth up in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And they found how many elders, Rich?
I think it was 13.
Yeah, 13 elders up in Pennsylvania that they caught and arrested as pedophiles. And it's very, very serious information. And they even show pictures of them. And it's like, oh my gosh, one guy has up to 40 years in prison. I mean, he should have been caught years ago, all of these. I call them pigs. You start molesting with children.
Oh yeah.
It's very, very serious. But yeah, that's what's going on. Not just in Pennsylvania. I'm sure it's other states, of course, as well, in other countries.
What I'd like to say to you, to the audience right now, there's a lot of stuff on TV, a lot of stuff about Jeffrey Epstein, a lot of stuff,
Yeah,
okay?
there is.
So, well, that's politics and so forth. Well, actually, no. There is a channel on YouTube, and it was announced on it today that they intercepted a lot of Jeffrey Epstein's transmissions,
Emails and stuff.
emails and stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
And he said that he wanted to go and do it. He didn't say what it was he was going to do.
Well, he spoke in codes too.
In codes,
Mhm.
and he wanted to do it in the Watchtower building at 25 Columbia Heights. So,
Because there's tunnels down
and
below.
the announcer says, we all know that O.J. Simpson murdered his wife.
Well, the DNA proves that.
Yeah.
You can't deny the blood.
But you know what? He was found
Innocent.
Yeah. But he was, everybody knows, they just couldn't prove it. Well, they said that the Epstein, wanted to go to 25 Columbia because
Heights.
it wasn't that far from where he lived.
Uh-huh.
And to do something there in the tunnels. It mentioned that. So look on Six Screens. I'm sorry. Look on, I'm having a hard time. YouTube.
Honey.
Yeah. And find that video and watch the whole thing. And you'll be convinced that there's a lot of pedophilia going on at Columbia Point.
When it was in Columbia Heights.
Columbia Heights, thank you.
Yeah.
And my good friend, Mark Palo, was raped there by
Leo
Greenleafs.
Yeah. And he was like about 9, right?
He
Rich?
was 10 years old.
He was a little boy.
He told me about it, and of course I didn't believe him. What, a governing
It's
body
hard to
member?
believe, isn't it, Rich?
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very
Well,
difficult.
matter of fact, Rick told me one time, I remember distinctly, he was in my car, we were driving someplace.
Yeah.
And he said, Dick, did you know that the Watchtower had a governing body member be an NGO? The Watchtower was an NGO, and he explained to me,
Rick did.
what an NGO was. And I'm thinking to myself, that can't be true. If somebody found out about that, they'd all leave because
Right.
it's so hypocritical.
It's revelation,
Well,
right?
it's out there,
Yeah.
and people stay in.
Yeah.
It's your cognizant dissident
Right,
stuff going
exactly.
on. Yeah.
It is very difficult to really accept that, but it's so prevalent. We had seen the movie, which was fabulous, The Sound of Freedom. I'm sure many of you have seen it as well. It's the number one, what would you say, Rich? Number one business worldwide. Makes more money in the billions and billions and billions of dollars. Child trafficking, it's just horrendous. Absolutely horrendous.
We have 350,000 children missing. A lot of them came over the border illegally, but they're missing. And there's something with drinking the blood. You can explain to the audience, drinking the blood of a child that supposedly keeps you young.
Yeah, you want me to talk about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's big time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I'm originally from California, but you don't have to be from California to know this. Yeah, they sexually abuse the children like they're just a piece of meat, and they terrorize them so much that sometimes you've seen maybe you haven't, but little babies or children, they look like raccoons. They got the dark brown circles around their eyes. It's just from trauma. Anyway, and whenever a person, even a child, is traumatized, the adrenalines, which are right above your kidneys in your back, you have 2 of them, right on top of each kidney are your adrenal glands. And so when it's that fight or flight mode, so whenever there's something terrifying or scary or, anything of that nature, your body wants to instantly just either fight to defend yourself or to flight. And children, they can't protect themselves. So the adrenal glands will release the adrenaline inside the adrenal glands. And what happens is that these sickos use and abuse these children and eventually kill and murder them. And they drink the blood. Okay, they're like vampires. And the reason
you were wrong.
Wait a minute, let me finish.
Let her finish.
And the reason why they do this in Hollywood, the
You're
reason,
not wrong.
let me finish.
Let her finish, please.
And the reason, can't even finish. The reason why they do this is it's supposed to be like a, what do we say, the youth.
Aphrodisiac, or-
Well, it's supposed to be like something to make them young, to be young, the adrenaline, the adrenochrome, they call it.
I wish you were wrong. You're absolutely right.
I wish I was wrong, honey. I wish I was
She
wrong.
says you're right.
Yeah, I know he does. I wish I was wrong.
Expert on the.
You can't even imagine how sick these people are. And then go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Everything you said is absolutely the truth.
Yep.
And I sure pray to God you were wrong, but you're not.
I wish I was.
You're
Yeah.
not wrong.
Right.
As I said before, on past times, as one of the nation's first cybercrime instructors, I specialized in taking down pedophile networks and was very successful in doing it. And I'm working on this network. But everything you said is correct. I mean, to the average person, it would sound so unbelievable.
Sure.
It would sound like you're just making this up.
No.
But everything, and you can go back to the Brooklyn Heights thing. Yes, Jeffrey Epstein sent the email saying the underground tunnels were very valuable, and then Jared Kushner, the son-in-law of Donald Trump, proceeded with the state. You see, this goes really, really high up. And I think that somehow the corporation has been involved. I know they've been involved for over 50 years, maybe longer, all the way back to Charles Stage Russell. But this unspoken nonsense about speaking the truth about the abuse of children, sexual harassment, wife swapping, and all that stuff is the fact that the organization is an NGO and sucking millions and millions of dollars from governments around the world tells me I'm going to separate biblical truth from the organization on this point. They're going to be thrown down like the rest of Babylon the Great because they have, and they're fighting in places like Norway, which if Norway rules against them, the whole European Union is going to follow suit real quick. And you cannot, I mean, people are going to think you crazy for what you're saying, but I'm here to tell you, you are not. You got it all right. Every single bit of it, ma'am. Congratulations.
Well, thank
Thank
you.
you.
I mean, we do our research, that's for sure. Because we're accountable for what we have to say. We really want to be sure it's accurate and honest to the audience. Yep. And, you know, just another thing, just a side thought, because we do have new listeners. You know, some people think, oh, you know, come on, you know, pedophilia, that's not in my backyard. It's been around for ages, okay? And the other thing, too, is, you know, a lot of people love the Super Bowl, right? Who doesn't enjoy the Super Bowl? Did you know the Super Bowl is the #1 place for child human trafficking? #1 place. People sitting down, enjoying the game, and these children, young girls, young boys, you know, they're being sold, transferred, whatever, like a piece of meat in the market. It's very, very sad. If you get a chance, watch that movie called Sound of Freedom. Jim Caviezel, who played Christ in the Passion of Christ, very handsome guy. Anyway, that guy's a real Christian, I'll tell you. Hollywood blacklisted him for his stand, he and Mel Gibson, on their stand with regards to human trafficking. And boy, did he play a great part. And I'm telling you, the movie was so well done, very tastefully done. You don't see what you are very fearful of seeing. You don't see that. You don't. But it's done so professionally, you know exactly what's going on. And they take these children and they put them in containers. Like, you know, I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. You know, you got these ports, you got Oakland, you got San Francisco, you got Long Beach, California, you know, New York, I'm sure there's too. All these ports, these big containers where they carry a lot of, you know, merchandise. And anyway, they place children, lots of children in there. And the children go from, and this is a true story, from like the San Francisco Bay Area all the way out to whichever country they're going. Now, the church that I had attended in California is called Glad Tidings Church. What a phenomenal church.
Mhm.
And Rich had the opportunity to come with me.
Yeah, we
And-
got married there.
Yes, we did. And they have, I forget the exact name. What is it called, Rich? Something, Heaven on Earth. I think it's
Mhm.
called Heaven on Earth. And anyway, Pastor Dave Bryan's his last name, Bryan. You can see him on YouTube. Anyway, I tell you, you don't mess around with Dave, and he's really a tough guy, isn't he, Rich?
Yep. Mhm.
Oh yeah, he's fearless. And so they had a whole conference and talking about human trafficking and people that are really, really involved and out there to protect children. And it was to raise money for this. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is there was a container. Would they have, Rich? I think it was 250 children.
Yeah.
And and Yuba City is like about, let's see, it's about 3 hours from San Francisco. Anyway, with the networking, they found out there was a group of children going to be in the container leaving San Francisco Bay and heading out. And anyway, they were able to stop it. And anyway, they wanted to, this is their goal in life, is to really rescue all these children. They took a women's prison that had just been old and dilapidated, and they raised about $4 million, because the issue that's involved is, these children, of course, need help. And once you rescue these children, where are the children going to live? So with Glad Tidings Church in Yuba City, California, they're going to work on having professionals there, and it would be a haven for these children. And that's what they really, really need.
They were mentioning the Child Protective Services,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Very good, Rich.
Some of those people that
Mhm.
are involved with that organization,
Yeah.
they're pedophiles themselves.
Yeah, it's a big, what would you say, organization?
Yeah,
I don't know what the word is, where children are, I can't think of the word that I want to say. Children are sexually abused in CPS. They really are, because they don't have a mother, they don't have a father, they don't have family. They're very, very vulnerable. And a lot of people don't know that about CPS.
This Jeffrey Epstein, right?
Mm.
He's like the kingpin. This guy is a billionaire.
Around the world too, Rich.
Yeah,
He was a
he's
kingpin
a
around the world.
billionaire. And
He had connections with everyone.
yeah, and because he's selling children. That's what he was doing. And there's a lot of people in high places that don't want this stuff to get out. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
you don't hear it on TV,
Mm.
but there's 350,000 children that are missing.
Yeah.
And as all you hear about is that woman that,
They came across the border in the
yeah,
United States, you're saying.
but not just across the border, which was a lot,
Yeah.
but there was a lot of children just missing, kidnapped from day to day, and nobody says anything
You
about
don't
it.
hear that discussed.
You
Right.
get this
all
woman, this
quiet.
poor woman that was murdered. Her daughter was a big shot sport announcer.
Oh, you're talking about Guthrie.
Guthrie.
Savannah Guthrie.
Thank you.
Yeah. Her mom,
All right.
Nancy
Every
Guthrie.
single day, they cut in with right in whatever program you're watching. They cut in to say they found some
Yeah.
little piece of evidence.
Yeah.
It's all you heard every single day was, how the investigation's going and all this stuff with it.
Yeah.
But you got 350,000
You
children
don't hear a word.
missing,
Right.
and the Watchtower
Mm.
in New York
Turn the lights
and
on.
the big shots and so forth.
Yeah.
Everything's involved. And I do believe the scripture that says everything will come out
Oh, yeah.
in the wash, so to speak.
Well, what's hidden will be revealed,
Yeah.
right?
And it's coming out now that,
Yeah.
especially in California where all the political corruption is going on.
Ooh, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
for
it's
sure.
all coming out. And it's
Yep.
all coming out about who the Watchtower really is. This JW Examiner.
Oh, yeah, we love John. We'd like to meet him someday.
Yeah, he's up in North Carolina.
Yeah, he doesn't live
I'd
far.
like to get a hold of him.
Yeah.
What's his last name?
Ledger,
John Ledger. That's right.
Leger, Ledger.
This guy is fabulous.
Yeah.
And he's really.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a PMO and you're in the Watchtower and you're wondering if we're just crazy, irate apostates,
Oh, you got to do your research.
go because it'll make
Do
sense.
your research.
It'll make sense to you
Yeah.
that this is a cult.
Well, it's very demonic, though, Rich.
It
You know,
is.
I mean, I know you use the term cult, which is true, but it's very demonic. There's no way in heck anybody can claim to be God's own true organization
Mhm.
with the Holy Spirit, governed by Jehovah God,
Mhm.
and yet you have all these pedophiles in the organization, and they're all protected by the two-witness rule. There's no way. They're very, very demonic.
And you know what? There's no accountability. These people take in money galore, and they are not going to help anyone. You would think that they would at least pay for the gas money for these pioneers. Oh, no.
No, it's a
No.
very self-serving organization.
And there's no accountability to anybody.
You know, the other thing I heard the other day ties in a little bit with this, not so much human trafficking and all that CSA, but, you know, they have a term, maybe some of you folks have heard this. They never used this term when I was in the 70s and 80s, but they apparently do now. If you have two people that are married,
Oh, yeah,
right?
thanks.
This cracks me up. You have two people that are married, and they're bringing in two incomes. I mean, my gosh, everything's so expensive. Inflation is through the roof, right?
Mhm.
Anyway, and they don't have any children, which is common among many JWs, not all, but many. Anyway, do you know they use this term, they meaning Watchtower, governing body. They use this term called DINKS, DINKS, which means double income with no kids, S, plural.
Mhm.
And anyway, the point is that they were trying to guilt trip.
Advertising marketing term. That's used all through marketing and advertising. That's not just witness.
Okay, well, the thing is, Watchtower is trying to guilt trip these couples that if they have two incomes with no kids, they should be pioneering instead.
Yeah.
It's all about
They should
Watchtower.
be sleeping in their car. They should get a gym membership to take a shower. And,
Just barely surviving, right, Rich?
frozen dinners or whatever. Yeah. And you're supposed but the governing body, oh no.
That sugar-free Jello is awfully good for the money. I just made some.
Jello?
And,
Yeah, it's just high in sugar, though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's all pure sugar.
the diabetic plan too.
Yeah.
But I think our economy is down to that sugar-free Jello at this point.
Then it's got chemicals. I'd stay away from it.
It is tasty and it does work on the diabetic plan. I had a neighbor that has that plan. So
Yeah.
but people are looking at the 50s foods and things now because everybody's got to economize and
Yeah. Everything's, I mean, you can see the price of gas and everything.
Mhm.
I'm glad I don't live in California anymore. I thought I'd never say that, but boy, that state the inflation and cost of living it's always been very, very high, but it just continues to increase more and more.
Well,
So,
Constance, I wanted to tell Dick something real quick since he was in the military.
yeah,
My niece just graduated from foreign academy in the Air Force. I guess she's a jumper. She jumps
Ooh.
parachutist or something. I've
Wow.
got two other nephews in the Air Force. I think they're in the Army.
Yeah.
I was never in the military, but they've been traveling all over the world.
Yeah.
I can't even keep track of them. They've been at the U.S. Embassy in Iraq. They've been in South Korea, up there in Germany, all over the place. It sounds exciting, but you know what? You might get killed. That's what I think about. But she graduated, just got the picture in, graduated from the Airborne Academy. She's apparently a master jumper or or whatever that is. So I just
Wow.
want to announce that to people out there that the wild beast caught my nieces and nephews. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Talk at you.
Yeah, thank you, King of
Thank you.
Dots.
Star 6. You like to comment? Go ahead, brother.
Jay. I know Joe shared two examples, and I got to talk about the elderly man.
Yeah.
Now, the other story he shared was the pioneer sister,
Right.
and she got shamed for basically spending too much time at another congregation.
Yes.
And it seems so petty. That's a control thing for them, is they don't want you to do that.
Well, you know what's interesting? He didn't get the opportunity to say a little bit more that I wish he had. That woman that was a regular pioneer, prior to her coming into the organization, she was an inmate. She had been an inmate for some time. I don't know quite what her charge was, but she was a prisoner for some felony. And anyway, when she came out, in fact, Joe also, I wanted him to say this. He said in his congregation, he had started the prison ministry, which I thought was very interesting. But when she came out, and she, came out of prison, and then she got baptized, and then eventually became a regular pioneer, the other, pioneers, for some reason, didn't like her. I'm not quite sure what that was all about. So she felt very isolated. She felt very alone. And that's when she went to the other congregation, one or two congregations, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, because, she wanted to make friends. And that was her background on the situation. Mm-hmm. But they marked her.
No, if you look at the difference between being a witness 20 years ago and 20 years and now.
Yeah.
They teach that you should only be friends with witnesses and you should only associate with witnesses. Look at how fewer witnesses there are now. There's no way you could uphold that now,
Yes. Yes.
If you're a young person and you want to get married, that only makes sense.
Let's
wanting
talk
to get
about
married,
that, Rich.
yeah,
Let's talk.
you
about
want to
that.
get married. Yes, sex is a big driver, but loneliness and just two can have a better life together if it's a good marriage than a single person. But they don't want you. They want you single and knocking on doors.
They don't want you to be tied down, right, with any responsibilities, or God forbid you became parents, right? That's less money for Watchtower.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's less money
But the thing is that
the assigned congregations and that, like, let's say you were a young brother or young sister, and you meet somebody a half an hour away.
Yeah.
Now somebody's talking over me here.
Yes. Somebody needs to star 6. You need to mute your phone. It's picking up in the background, please. Thank you. Go ahead, brother. Mm-hmm.
Let's say you are a young brother or a young sister or whatever, and you are you start dating somebody and they live a half an hour away. They don't even want you to attend their congregation with them.
That's
it's
right.
a control aspect for them. It's nuts.
It's very, very difficult to be a JW. And you know what? I've always said this, especially the sisters. There are more sisters than there are brothers. And I know a sister I was very close to. I've mentioned her before. She was a Latin sister, and she really wanted to get married. Now, I didn't, right? I was not impressed with any of the brothers. I wasn't. I just wasn't. I wasn't going to settle till I found Rich.
Mm-hmm.
But took me 68 years, but that's the truth. I didn't need to be married to be happy. But she really wanted to get married. She could not find anybody. And, I'm not being mean. I'm not. But she was not the most attractive either. She was overweight. But, there were not very many brothers in our congregation. And then, like you say, brother, to go out and find somebody else, it's very challenging. And then, you don't even get a chance to be able to really get to know this person. You got a chaperone there in maybe 3 months, and then you're going to get married. Are you kidding? You can't even know somebody in 3 months. That's insane. So many are set up for failure. And I've always said this to the sisters and even the brothers, you take your time. Marriage is a very, very serious decision, and marriage is not for everybody. It just isn't. I know that might sound strange, but it's just not. And you better make sure it's the right person, because there is a lot involved getting married and then getting divorced. And oh my God, you got kids involved. Oh my God, what a nightmare. We don't wish any of that for any of you.
Types of relationships that work for people. I mean, some people like it casual, some people, living together and being married and all that, it wouldn't work for them, but they like seeing the other person, twice a week.
Hey, we got a caller coming in. We got a. Go ahead, Susan.
Oh. Go ahead, Susan.
Oh, hi, honey. Hi, Connie and Dick.
Hi, sweetheart. Hello.
Hi. When Rick and I when we first got married, I had the hotline, and what was so surprising about the hotline is people would call and say the most difficult problem they had in the Kingdom Halls was a lack of love, a lack of friendship. They couldn't find it.
That's okay, Rich.
And you would think, because Jesus said right before he left for heaven, he said,
oh, somebody's at the door.
To love one another. That's the main thing he said to do. But
Somebody's at the front door. Yeah.
And
Somebody's at the front door, guys. I'm sorry, Rich had to step away. Yeah. Go ahead, Susan. It's a live show. I don't know who's at the front door.
But God made people to have that desire to be married. So is it a wrong thing for the Watchtower to criticize people for wanting to do a natural thing that God wants them to do?
Yes. Well, it's very difficult to be able to meet somebody that, that you're interested in, and then to be compatible. And like, I love what Rick always says, it's a marriage made in Brooklyn. So, there are a lot of JWs that get married and they're not successful. They end up in divorce. And let's be real, people. I'm not saying this about all the brothers, but there are many brothers, they're on this ego trip that I'm the head of the household. And, you need to be submissive to me because you're like my property and you got to do what I tell you. I'd never go for that crap. No way. No way. No way. That is not love. That's slavery. That's like, your wife is your piece of property.
We've got Toronto, Canada. He's been trying to come in here. Is that you, Toronto, Canada? Go ahead. You're on with us. You're on Dick and Connie's show. Go ahead. Toronto, Canada. Did you want to come in and say something? That would be area code 647. You're on with us. Go ahead.
Toronto, Canada, yes.
Go ahead, brother.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, speak up, please. Go ahead.
Yes?
Hello?
I think right now Watchtower is accountable to the government.
Watchtower is comfortable for the government? Can you explain what you mean?
Yes, they're not. They're no longer accountable. The rank and file don't really accountable. Yes, they are. They are now accountable to the government more than being accountable to the rank and file members. And now the rank and file members don't even care much. Now the governments are on them. And so now they're really accountable.
Uncomfortable, right?
Well, you're correct. I mean, there was a lawsuit a lot of years ago with, what was his name? Falwell.
Who, honey?
The evangelist there.
Oh, yeah. That one that you used to follow?
Swaggart.
Yeah,
Jimmy
Swaggart.
Swaggart,
Jimmy
right?
Swaggart, right.
This
right.
guy's making millions of dollars, right?
Yeah. Mm.
And he guy's living like a billionaire. Not only him, Kenneth Copeland, and all
Jimmy
these
Hinn, all of them.
Benny
There's a lot.
Hinn and
Joyce Meyer. whole
Joyce Meyer and that
Joel
guy out in
Osteen.
Joel Osteen.
Yeah.
These guys are driving Ferraris, big
Lear jets.
$1 million
They
homes.
have Lear jets.
Yeah, Kenneth Copeland, he's got 5 jets. He owns 5 jets.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the extravagance, and he's promising people if you give a seed, which is money, to his ministry, that God will cure whatever sickness they have, or God will arrange for them to become millionaires and all this stuff.
They're prosperity preachers.
Anyway,
Yeah.
the governments are looking at these churches.
Oh, yeah, Grassley. Remember, Rich, the politician Grassley
Yeah.
was looking at them.
Yeah, out of New York, Grassley. Yeah.
Because it's all all the donations are tax-free. They don't pay any real estate taxes. They don't pay any taxes on donations. I mean, my gosh, they're just rolling in the millions.
Yeah.
Creflo Dollar's another one.
Mhm.
But anyway, yeah. Did you get to say your point, brother, with regards to Watchtower?
Yeah, well, I think about that younger MP in the British Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
That younger MP in the British Parliament there. That younger MP
Name is Sam Carling.
Yes, he's also looking into the witness and their pedophilia.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked about that at the top of the show.
Well, I hear that
Yeah.
because of what happened to Norway, France is now watching closely about Watchtower too. France and many European nations are watching what's going to happen with Norway. Watchtower is under their microscope. They're watching them. And I think that's a good thing.
Sure, that's the thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, like they can't keep on doing this pedophilia thing and also breaking up families with their disfellowshipping. You know, it's so arbitrary. It just depends on what elders you get. You know, if I think one of Rick's kids had a white pencil in his mouth, and they said the kid was smoking.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Sad. They investigate everybody. They ask personal questions. That's not how it was for me when I was in the Catholic Church. I mean, I know the Catholics have their problems too.
But they don't behave like that, Rich.
You know, they
No,
don't investigate.
No, they don't.
One of the elders asked me if I saw a brown Chevy at the bottom of my street to let him know. Well, there was a sister that lived at the bottom of my street, and there was a brother that had a brown Chevy. I mean, I knew all the cars that the brothers drove, and I was supposed to report back to him if I saw the brown Chevy.
They wanted you to snitch.
Yeah, so I went the other way because I didn't want to.
You didn't want to lie.
I didn't want to be involved in
it.
that. You know,
Yep.
that type of thing.
Yep.
I was disfellowshipped on my deathbed.
On your deathbed.
And you
I
did
was
that.
I had open heart surgery,
Whoa.
and I was set up by the elders because I had warned the brothers and sisters that, and I did it as an expert because I used to teach pandemics for the government, businesses, and roundtables, and sent out millions of brochures on how to deal with pandemics.
Okay.
And I told the congregations in my area in North Carolina not to take the shot right away.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that the shot itself was a bioweapon.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most people do now. And this act where Jehovah's Witnesses mandated to take the shot killed thousands and thousands and maimed thousands of Jehovah's Witnesses because they were so arrogant and in bed with the government. The mayor of New York, Blasio, came out and criticized Jehovah's Witnesses. They said, no, we're demanding 99% of the shots to be taken, and I knew for a fact that it was a bioweapon. The shot itself was.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they did was they cooked up a false charge against me, and I was in the hospital after open heart surgery on my deathbed,
Oh.
and they actually disfellowshipped me on Zoom.
Wow.
They did it, and they did it behind my back, and I was too sick to attend. So what I did as a as a third generation witness, I said, okay, let's say what you say I'm true. How do I repent?
Mm-hmm.
2 years, I went to the meetings and talked to the elders. And the final meeting I had with them, they said, well, we have a long list of things that you have to do. And by doing those things, we can't tell you what that list is, by the way.
No.
And after 2 years of me trying to get reinstated, true blue, I just wanted to be back with my family.
Right.
And what they did was they told me that we've got a long list of stuff you're going to have to do, including underlining your Watchtower at the meeting. And I'm half blind.
Oh.
And I told them I just can't read the Watchtower.
Right.
And so they was listing all this nonsense.
Mm.
And finally, when they said that to me after 2 years, I blasted the organization with a letter that has been forcing them to print articles that they don't want to.
Mm.
And I'm still on them about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was 5 years ago.
Yes.
And I haven't talked to my grandkids in 5 years because they won't let me. And they are disfellowshipping people for nothing. You ask a Bible question that's legitimate, that in the old days we could answer it in the instant. But the elders are so stupid. They're so stupid and ignorant. They can't answer a simple Bible question, and to avoid answering that question, they will disfellowship you while the governing body is sitting up there riding in their $500,000 Bentleys and collecting their money, individual wealth. And what they have done, what they are doing, is disfellowshipping people that's only a fraction of what they have done.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
You got that right.
Well said.
Oh, you got that right. Do as we say, don't do as we do. Yep. 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 It's all about control, brother. It's all about control. It's all about control. It's all about control. You know, there is no love in this organization. I never heard of Jesus disfellowshipping anyone. You know, the Jews and the Samaritans, you know, they were at odds with one another. But Jesus was at the well and he was talking to the Samaritan woman about giving her a drink of water. Remember? So that was very loving. And she thought, what are you doing talking to me? I'm a Samaritan and you're a Jew. Anyway, she became
Well, the point
Jesus.
is that they are all disfellowshipping people for nothing. And they themselves should be disfellowshipped. Every member of the governing corporate body, the evil slave class, that's who they are.
You're right.
They're very evil. You know,
They're the Pharisees.
If they didn't have anything to hide, just think about this. If they really were very theocratic, you know, very spiritual, religious, pious, whatever you want to call them, you know, why don't they turn over that database that they have of all the pedophiles if they don't have anything to hide? Erwin Zalkin, the attorney down in Southern California, down in San Diego area, you know, he was going after the governing body members. Why is Watchtower so, meaning governing body members, why are they so resistant about turning over their database? Why? Well, number one, I can tell you, because there's so many pedophiles, and it's like the Jeffrey Epstein files. People their socks would be blown off if they really found out some of the names of who these pedophiles are in the organization. Watchtower hides that secret database like crazy. They have a lot to lose by the public knowing it. But that was the thing I was going to say. when it came to Pennsylvania, they did a grand jury, and they're trying to get the 20,000 pedophiles in. I don't know if it's the full database or a portion of the database, but the grand jury in Pennsylvania is going after that with Watchtower. And I'm sure Watchtower is shaking in their boots on that one, Rich.
Yep. Well, there's 1,000 in Australia.
1,006 cases.
Yeah.
So those are cases. So there's probably more pedophiles than there are cases.
Sure.
Right? Yeah.
Not everybody gets caught.
Yeah. No, not everybody gets caught.
Mm-hmm.
They got that stupid 2-witness rule that they hide behind.
You know, another thing they could be transparent about is the money.
Yeah.
You know, I think only 4 or 5 people know exactly how much money.
Watchtower has?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't that be great to get a CFO on there, Chief Financial Officer, to come on the show? I think people would be blown away if they really knew how wealthy Watchtower is. But Watchtower is hemorrhaging right now. I mean, they really are. You know, they're allowing ministerial servants now at the age of 13?
Yeah.
And elders
at 21?
Yeah. Are you kidding me? 21. Honey, what does someone at 21 know? They don't know much. They're just starting off in life. As an elder?
At 21, if he went to college, he only had an associate's.
Yeah. Yeah. But the thing is, can you imagine they're going to try to counsel older people, maybe a couple that are having marital problems? What in the heck's he know? Does he have to be baptized? No, excuse me. Does he have to be married to be an elder? No, he doesn't. So yeah, we had an elder that was not that was not married. Most of them were. But you know, what in the heck's he know about married life if he's a single brother or even if he's married? 21? Yeah, you're just starting off in life. You don't know much. You really don't. You're just starting off in life.
Barely legal to buy a beer. You know?
That's for sure. Is there someone else who would like to come on? Because we're down to about the last 9 minutes. We'd love to hear from somebody new. You don't have to give your name. We'd just love to hear you comment. You don't have to talk for very long, but we're enjoying this conversation with everyone tonight.
Rich and Constance.
Yeah, that's us.
You hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, this is Junction. This is Junction guy from Tennessee. I'm on vacation in Florida right now. My brothers. I came through South Carolina yesterday.
Oh, you were in our neck of the woods. Yeah, hi, Junction.
Yeah, I came down 26 to 95 and then 95 down to Jacksonville.
Okay.
But anyway, I heard you say something. I don't know if I caught it right. Did you say Senator Grassley investigating them now, or maybe I misheard you?
No, Grassley.
Yeah, he's from New York.
Yeah, he's like the oversight committee chairman.
Yeah.
And Rich knows all the details with that.
Okay.
But, yep, and he's trying to go after all these.
I called his office.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a straightforward shooter. Yep.
Yeah, I called his office years ago to get them investigated on their tax exempt status. Mm-hmm. And I got a call back. She called me back, but said that at this time he wouldn't be able to pursue that or something. So that's interesting that he's getting involved again.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's so much fraud. You know, it's unbelievable. They use that 501(c)(3) status. They got all the millions rolling in from people, and they're laughing all the way to the bank.
And it seems like all these televangelists, and they live in these really, truly $10-20 million homes. They drive Ferraris, they drive Bentleys, and there's always some kind of a sex scandal involved with them, whether it's Schwaggett or White or Benny Hinn. There's always some kind of sex scandal.
Or the stuff going on Daystar right now. I haven't kept up with that. But
remember the Bakers?
Oh yeah, Jim and Tammy Baker. Oh brother.
Sex, you know.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, just all the money that they're bringing in, it's unbelievable. And it's all tax free. Same thing with Watchtower.
You know, Dick and Connie?
Yes, honey.
You know, these people, they may be driving these expensive cars in a big, beautiful homes, but they're not happy. Why do they have affairs, or they're always trying to get more and more, but they're not happy. Are the people in the Watchtower, the governing body, do they look happy to you?
No, they don't.
No, they don't. No, they don't, Susan.
But people think, well, that's what I want to have. That would make me happy too if I had a big beautiful home, nice car, great clothes, whatever. But that's not what makes you happy. So people better sit down and just try and discover what really does make them happy. It's usually their family. It's usually a relationship with our Heavenly Father. These things make you happy. But these other things that they're pursuing are not making them happy. And there's over 60,000 people on this pedophile computer at the Watchtower. I mean, those people weren't happy because they went after that flesh for unnatural use. So people better start examining what makes them happy. I just wanted to emphasize that.
Hello, Constance? Hello?
I don't know what happened to them. Why don't
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Why don't you just speak up what you're feeling? Go ahead.
Susan, you're right.
Okay, I think I hear you now. Can you hear me? This is the pastor, babe.
I don't think she hears you, Apostle Babe. Maybe you could say what you wanted to say.
Those that are 14 years old can be ministerial servants. Did I hear you right?
Sounds like
We lost Dick and Constance. I'm not sure what happened.
Can you hear us now? Okay, we're here. Yes. Now I don't feel so bad. Thank you, Matthew. Hi. Did you hear my question, or should I just ask it again?
No, honey, you were way in the background. Go ahead, Apostle Babe.
Okay, so did I hear you say a few minutes ago that 14-year-olds could be ministerial servants?
Yes.
That's what I heard?
13, they're going to
13, 14.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
You can be an elder at 21. You can be a circuit overseer at 25. Can you imagine being 25 years old and you have a person that's been an elder longer than he's been on the earth, and you're going to go at 25 and counsel that elder? This is a whacked out organization. The reason for it is elders and ministerial servants are quitting. They're sending in letters of resigning and whatever, so that they need people to run these organizations so they get their money in. That's what they need. They need the money. And so they're saying if a person's qualified, well, who decides if he's qualified? It's not like if you be a lawyer, you'd have to pass the bar exam. If you're a doctor, you'd have to, or a pilot, you have to pass these exams and show you're competent to do that. These elders and ministerial servants, they don't know what they're doing, but they're drunk with pride. They say, well, the Holy Spirit has appointed me to this position. He wouldn't have appointed me unless I had what it takes. Well, I get the right stuff. Well, the Holy Spirit, our Heavenly Father's Holy Spirit, has not appointed anybody, a ministerial servant, a pioneer, an elder, circuit overseer, or governing body. The governing body has been appointed by Satan the devil. It's my firm belief that every single one of those people that are on the governing body are demon controlled, because they will just lie to you, and the father of the lie is Satan the devil, and these governing body members will lie, and right to your face they will lie.
They get on.
Right.
Sir, you're so correct, sir.
Can I-
Thank you.
Can I mention one more thing to you?
You're correct.
Can
Can
I
you
mention
tell us
one more
more about
thing?
yourself, sir?
Just a second, please.
One at a time, please.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
just
Can you
finish
tell
up.
us more about yourself?
Can I just finish up, sir? I just have
Yes,
one more
sir.
thing.
Yes,
to
ma'am.
add.
I'm sorry. I'll be
Thank you
quiet,
so much.
ma'am. Go ahead. I'm
I'll be
sorry.
just So, Borghi, I tried to get in touch with you last week. I don't know if I have your number, but I need to hear from you. So please try to reach out to me
Well, hold on.
on Messenger
What is it? Well, let me get your number.
from Rick.
Who is
I'm just
Is
from
this
Rick.
Dixie?
This is Apostobabe Linda James.
Okay, Linda. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
You want to give me your you want to give me your number on the air or what?
No, I would like for you to get it from Rick
Okay.
Farron. Yes, please.
Okay.
And sir, thank you for being patient with me. I appreciate you. Okay.
Oh,
bye-bye.
you're welcome.
Sir, can you tell us
Bye.
more about yourself, please? Your story is intriguing. Can you tell us more about yourself?
Who, me? Dick Bo-
Yes, sir.
Well, I only got a few minutes left on the program.
Okay.
I became a Jehovah's Witness in 1970. I was in the Marine Corps prior to that, and I was going to make a career out of the Marines because I had been through all the tough stuff. I fought in the Vietnam War, and I got a medal, and I looked like I was going to have a promising career in the Marine Corps, and I was very happy with that. But my sister was a JW, started studying, and she asked me to study, and I started thinking that the Jehovah's Witnesses had the truth because the person I studied with said that if everyone in the world was a Jehovah's Witness, there wouldn't be any wars, and they had the truth. So I bought into that just because of that. And they also said, this is in 1971, when I was still in uniform. They said that the Armageddon was going to come in just a few years. At that time, it was 4 years from now. So I didn't want to die at Armageddon, so I took a discharge from the Marine Corps, and I became a JW. But then 1975 came and went. I had a girlfriend at the time that I was kind of nuts about, and we were studying the Truth Book together, and halfway through she told me that the priest had come to her house at the bequest of her name was Paula's parents, and she would not study anymore with Jehovah's Witnesses because it was a cult. And so I had to say goodbye to her. It was painful, but I didn't want to die at Armageddon. I went through one war without even being scratched. So I kind of like, yeah, wow, I'll be a Jehovah's Witness. Not because I was a very religious person or I wanted to be a goody two shoes and be very righteous and stuff like that. I had sex with any woman that would go, I smoked marijuana and drank a lot of booze, and I was a young wild guy in my early 20s at that time. This is 71, and so I cleaned up my act so I wouldn't die at Armageddon. That's the only reason why. Then Armageddon didn't come, and now I'm stuck with a good woman, but not a woman that I really loved, and I had problems with it. So that's kind of an overview. If you call me up sometime, I'll give you more detail. But
I'd be glad to. When did you have your heart broken by the organization?
I think when I confessed to adultery, and it cost me my wife and my 2 sons, my home.
Damn.
It cost me my sister, who's a JW. And of course, when you're in the organization for 20 years,
all the friends that I had in high school, they played sports with and so forth. You know, I started preaching to them and they didn't want to hear it. They say, get away from me, you know, get away from me, you crazy guy. You know, and so all my friends were gone. My cousins, all the people that I cared about growing up, they were all gone. So when you dissociate, you are all alone. I mean, you are all alone. And that's
I'm
what a lot of
disfellowship
people
too.
saying.
I'm disfellowship too. I know what you mean. I've lost friends and family that I built over the last 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very sorry. I mean, I don't know. I can sense something about you that you're very honest-hearted. Now, to say the things you said, it takes a very honest and good heart. And I'm going to tell you right now, I mean, the people that have condemned you, your heart is so far superior to that self-righteous nonsense. I just want to commend you, sir, and tell you that just lift up your head for the rest of the night and realize that you have great value and worth to God himself.
Well, thank you, brother. Those are very kind words, and I truly, truly appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I think that
have a good weekend.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for coming on. We thank everybody that's come on tonight, and I guess we'll be turning it over to Rick.
Well, thank you, Dick. Thank you, Constance. And thank you, Joe. I don't know if Joe's still listening, but we had a good program. My goodness, I can see things here at the control panel. And it amazes me. I mean, after doing the program here 20 years, this is just totally awesome to see all of these people coming in from all over the world. I mean, really appreciate their presence here on a Saturday night. I mean, people you would think would be busy going out to restaurants, going out to the movie theater, going out shopping. But boy, they come here every Saturday night. And this is where ex-Jehovah's Witnesses come to talk, right here on the 6 Screens Telenetwork. Now, don't go anywhere. We have got JW World News coming up next. And we've got some very interesting topics that we'll be discussing. One of the things that's getting a lot of attention, and I mentioned it earlier in our promo, is cliques. Did you have a clique in your organization, a little group of people that kind of stayed by themselves and spread rumors about everybody else? I had it. I don't know about you. We're going to be talking about that and some really good stuff coming up next right here on JW World News. So we'll end this program right here. Thank you for coming in and wanting to be with Dick and Constance and Joe DiDario tonight. So stay with us. 6 Screens, JW World News up next.